Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. Today we have 2 stories out of the Prorevenge subreddit. Let's begin. Our first story is by Sky Guy McFly. I helped get my wife's boss fired. So this is a story about how my wife and I got her boss fired. For reference, my wife will be called Mary and her boss is Karen. I know, original, right? Too long didn't read at the bottom. So Mary started working for a college 5 years ago as an administrative assistant. She was given odds and ends tasks, one of which was writing up the school handbook. She noted that the handbook that staff were required to take time for professional development. After some years and a few promotions, she landed a manager position in the department and spearheads an initiative to have all the staff under her have approved time to attend professional development conferences. Karen always rejected the idea, but Mary decided one day to go to Karen's boss. We will call him Bob. Bob is great. Once Mary had enough weight in the college, she went around Karen and got Bob to approve conferences for everyone in the department. For the next year or so, everyone got to choose any conference around the continental US to attend on the company's dime. Everyone would come back with notes taken at every session attended, attached with the conference itinerary, and given to their direct superior as proof of attendance. The employee would also present key points learned from their conference at a weekly departmental meeting. Pretty simple morale-boosting opportunity, until someone had to abuse it. Karen had been bragging to the other department directors, as well as to Mary, about swimming with the dolphins during her recent travel to a conference. Mary didn't think much of it. There was sometimes a free morning or afternoon to do with as they pleased at these conferences. My wife told me this during our nightly pillow talk, and having been raised in Orlando, where Karen decided to attend a conference, my head popped up and I asked, "Where?" Mary replied with a well-known location run by a well-known company with a dolphin in the logo. I quickly replied that they closed at 5:30. When did Karen have time for this? Mary, who had access to Karen's itinerary, dropped her jaw when she realized the conference Karen attended did not have free time during the business hours of the dolphin swimming experience. Mary went into an enraged clerical fury as she pulled up Karen's full travel itinerary for flight, hotel, conference, and other reimbursements. The school does most departmental work online. The school's servers can be accessed remotely, if remotely from secured or approved devices, like Mary's phone. She also checked the website where Karen went swimming to confirm the hours of operation. According to the record submitted, there was no way Karen had time to swim with dolphins during the experience's normal business hours without missing part of the conference. And according to Karen's itinerary, she was supposed to have attended all sessions. Mary worked hard to have the privilege to travel the country to attend conferences, and Karen just screwed it all up. Mary eventually wrote all of this up, attached the itinerary documents, attached photos of the encounter, and apparently from other theme parks that Karen had neglected to mention from social media, attached the hours of operation, and sent them all to Bob. Mary texted me about an hour after she got to work the next day saying Bob was livid. He was currently in the process of questioning everyone Karen had bragged to see if the stories all matched up. A few days later, Karen was fired from the company for only attending one session for 3 days of a conference, and lying about her report filed, using company funds for travel, hotel, and food to go play at theme parks, and submitting a time card to get paid while doing all of that. Although Mary's name was anonymous throughout all of this, Karen seemed to blame Mary anyway. Karen sent mean and dark texts to Mary several times until the school sent a cease and desist. Worst of all, I guess Karen's husband, was a deadbeat. So not only did Karen have to trade in her massive SUV for a smaller vehicle, she had just signed on a new house only days before she was fired, and now she had no income to support the said house. I'm not completely cynical, people shouldn't be homeless, but Karen had also taken credit for a lot of Mary's work, made Mary do Karen's workload while Karen went AFK, and many other instances of foul play I can't begin to remember because there's so much pillow talk. Needless to say, Karen reaped what she sowed. Too long didn't read. I suggested to my wife the idea that her boss used company funds to go on vacation. I was right, and my wife reported the boss, resulting in an embarrassing termination. A couple of things I'd like to mention. tree across the street is being trimmed down, and I'm sorry about the noise. I tried to limit it as much as possible, but it still might be there. The other thing, oh my god, Karen is incredibly stupid. Bragging to your colleagues that you went and swam with the dolphins while you were supposed to be at a conference? I mean, even if Mary didn't figure it out, somebody sooner or later would have figured out that she didn't go to the conference and that she actually went on vacation instead. I mean, OP said that the people who attended the conferences had to report back to their team on what they had learned. So I mean, it would only be a matter of time before Karen would come up short with information that she had learned at the conference. It would have come out sooner or later, I say. But still, I'm glad that Karen got fired in the end. But it's too bad that I'm sure this ruined everybody else's chances of being able to go and do personal development conferences because of Karen. Anyway, if you're enjoying my content so far, please put some heart emojis in the comment section down below. And on to our final story. Our next story is posted by Scott3496. You slept with my girlfriend? Better watch your back. Too long didn't read at the bottom. Full disclosure, this isn't my story. It happened to a friend of mine who lives in the USA a long time ago, so the dialogue isn't exact. He gave me permission to post this on Reddit. For ease of writing, I'll be writing as if it happened to me. Due to the nature of the story, some of the details have been changed. Cast: me, friend. Karen, me's girlfriend, had a drug addiction but was clean for 2 years. Important for later. Jill, business owner. Jake, old friend, a-hole of the story. I live with my girlfriend Karen and my old grade school friend Jake, who was working as a sales rep. We live on the outskirts of a well-known city in the States. I was in my late 20s. I found myself looking for work as a bartender and was working at a closed down bar. Knowing I was desperate for work, Jake calls me and tells me his new girlfriend Jill just purchased a motel/bar with a small kitchen and she's looking for hired help. Needless to say, I jumped on the opportunity, as Karen wasn't working and the bills were piling up and our health insurance was due. I called Jill, arranged to meet her at the new property to introduce myself. Jake made the introductions in person and had already told Jill that I was hands-on DIY person with hospitality experience. Now to explain. My dad is a Sparky and believes if you can pay someone to fix something, you could probably do it cheaper yourself. He taught me lots and still does to this day. After a 30-minute chat, Jill tested me with a few odd jobs like rewiring an outlet, fixing clogged sinks, and quizzed me on liquor laws. Needless to say, I was hired that day. Originally, work was all about getting the property ready for business. Jill thought it would have been minor work, paint, replacement of fittings and furniture. We still found out the electrical wires were shot. The whole place needed rewiring, which was the cause of stress for Jill, as it would have blown her budget. Luckily for Jill, my dad was between contracts and offered his services using leftover stock, already paid for from other jobs. Jill would need to cover the cost of any new products required. As for labor, his payment, he said he enjoyed a steak and a beer on Friday nights. After 3 weeks of helping Dad, the wiring was done and was up to code at a fraction of the cost. Jill and I spent 1 to 2 months painting all the motel rooms, the bistro, and the bar, cleaning the kitchen, cool rooms, etc. Jake would offer to help, but always left after 20 minutes saying that he has to make a sale. Jill often worked well into the night. After all, this was her dream. I'd take some furniture home to restore after hours and return it once restored. The business opened up after 6 months, and thanks to Dad, opened under budget. Jill managed the business and ran the kitchen, and I worked where I was needed. In the kitchen, on the bar, tending to maintenance. I was on salary, second in charge, and could work in any position. Things went smoothly for a year. Business was turning a profit. Dad was getting his weekly beer and steak. Karen seemed happy. Jake was still working as a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. One day, I felt crook at work, so I clocked off and went home early. Pulling into my driveway, with the exception of turning a gut, things felt normal. Jake's car was there, but he lived there, so I didn't think anything was wrong. As usual, I parked behind Jake's important for later. When I opened the door, I found Karen doing the reverse cowgirl with Jake on the couch. After seeing me, Jake grabbed his pants and ran out through the back door. Karen and I argued that night. She tried blaming me, saying saying, "I'm never home. I'm spending too much time with Jill." We were keeping things professional. I was her employee. I went to bed and told her that she can sleep in Jake's bed, as she clearly finds it more comfortable. I called Jill and informed her of this, as Jake was her boyfriend. She was upset as he cheated on her, but admitted she suspected he was seeing someone else. Jill offered me a room at the motel until I figured out my next move. The next day, I loaded my personal effects into the truck. Jake's car was still there, as I had blocked him in. I told Karen that she could keep the rental and the furniture. I said, "Karen, I'd be back for my tools in a few hours, and I would appreciate it if she wasn't there." I went home that afternoon to load my tools into the truck. While I was grabbing something from under my workbench, I found a bag I wasn't familiar with. Upon closer inspection, I found a large quantity of little tablets. The way they were packaged and hidden made me realize they were probably ecstasy. A thorough search of the house led me to finding 2 more bags and about 12 grand in cash. I put 2 and 2 together and realized that Jake's pharmaceutical sales job was code for drug dealing, and Jake probably traded pills to Karen for sex. I was beyond angry until I realized that I have all I needed to get back at him: the revenge. Jake's car still hadn't moved. I went inside and grabbed his spare keys. I checked on a pair of gloves that were in the garage, put half the money and 1 bag of the drugs in his trunk, and thought, "Hang on, this won't pass." I removed his spare tire from the wheel well and put the bag in there. The other 2 bags, I threw them down the storm drain in the laneway behind my house. As for the 6 grand in cash, Jake did cost me a house full of furniture. Just saying. I sent a message to both Jake and Karen with the typical hurt script. "I can't believe you did this. We were friends, blah blah blah. I've left and I hope you two are happy together." I then made an anonymous tip to the local police and ATF about a man fitting Jake's description, loading what looks like drugs into the trunk of his car that sounded like Jake's car, and provided a partial number plate, the numbers that matched Jake's car. It didn't take long for law enforcement to find the car and locate the drugs. What I wasn't counting on was it was Karen driving the car at the time. She was later released when they found out that she was driving the wrong car at the wrong time. A warrant went out for Jake's arrest. The icing on the cake? I found out later that not only were the police after Jake, his supplier as well was after him because he lost a lot of product. Fast forward 3 months, I purchased a house. I was still working with Jill. Karen was pregnant with Jake's baby, and he was on the run. I suspected she was keeping in contact with Jake because she suddenly left the district when she was 8 months pregnant. 12 months after the incident, after a drunken night, Jill and I mixed business with pleasure and started dating. That was 10 years ago. We are married, we have 2 children, and just opened our 3rd business. Dad still gets his weekly steak and beer. I heard a rumor that Jake and Karen wound up in Alaska, but I can't confirm this. I do feel bad about it now because Jake made it possible for me to date Jill, and I live a wonderful life. I do hope he is well. Too long didn't read. Best friend sleeps with my girlfriend. He now has the police and drug gangs chasing him. Edit. My friend clarified why his dad did such a good deal for the electrical work. Apparently he had a large contract canceled due to bankruptcy after the contract paid a sizable non-refundable deposit, which he used for supplies. Basically, he had the materials already on hand, and a few weeks suddenly freed up. A++ gentleman. Anyway, those are all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit posts will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I've uploaded new videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.